Okay, we're live at 11:05, and you caught us in the act. This is Glenn, Ronnie. We're building Goldie here. This is Glenn, the man. I mean, when it comes to metal flake, you're the man.
Apparently.
Yeah, how many fenders have you painted for a boat company?
Painted over 3,000 fenders for easy loader trailers for Skeeter boats.
Okay, 3,000 fenders in gold flake. So we got the guy that does the gold flake. So anyway, he's helping me now. I think we titled this thing "Don't One Step Back to Go Forward." I don't like to go backwards to go forwards. Did I do the introduction? Hi, I'm BC. This is Spirit Cars. We're live at 11:05. If you like this, like, share. What else do you do? Get notifications. Blah 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 blah. All that kind of stuff. So we got this car back. The customers had it for a while. Ronnie's had it for a while. Awesome theme. I'm pretty excited. You've been through this stuff more than I have, but it's like it's a rat pink theme.
Oh, yeah.
And in the body, we're going to go ahead and do some kind of scallops or something in all the metal flakes. It's going to be, I'm getting excited. It's going to be pretty cool. So we had disassembled it. I don't remember if the wheels were on it or not when it came in, or anyway, it doesn't really matter. The frame had been powder coated with a flake, and it just wasn't good. And then it was peeling, and maybe it was powder coated again. So we sandblasted it all. You want to make sure the compressor's off as you leave. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Prepped it, got it ready, did it. Yesterday we talked about, wet sanding it. So, can you see the slick on it, the shine? It looks pretty good. Yesterday, so you had the shiny part that was all orange peely, and then we had some of it that was flat and dull looking, but it was, wet sanded already. So now this has had some buffed. And another thing, painting it with liquid paint, with the urethane, you can see how smooth it is around in here. You can't get that with powder coat. We're real slick around here. I think I'm gonna put a cover on here. I didn't see one in your stuff, so if I have a look through your stuff, but we got a chrome cover that we'll probably put on here. That'll look pretty good. When we do a paint job, I generally do not focus on, if you see the welds back here, you can see the weld now, but when you put the body on it, you can't see that. I'm going to say two different things. So you're going to have to fall in between on the two things. When I started as a painter, years and years ago, that was back when apprenticeships were real, and the painter I worked for was pretty good. It was so far back that we were using synthetic enamel, and there was a hot plate on the bench. If anybody of you remembers way back then, you heated up the enamel and it dried faster. There was no activators. Most everything was lacquer. But anyway, the painter that taught me, and it was the true apprenticeship days. I didn't even get to prime a car for 6 months. I mean, if you were apprentice, you were nobody. And if you were the master, you were the master. And you better sit at the feet of the master if you wanted to learn the trade. And if you thought you were going to learn it in 6 months, you were never going to be a master. We've kind of lost that issue. And putting that in a context of my faith, I'm a disciple of Christ, a student of the teacher. I have to sit at the feet of Christ, but at the same time, my master washed the feet of those that followed him. So if you want to lead, you better know how to follow, and you better be pretty humble about it too. So there's a balance between that. I just said two different things. So his name was Bob, and I doubt he's around anymore, but he told me two things. When the customer goes in and he grabs the handle of that door and goes in the car, that better look perfect. When the customer's sitting in the car and he's looking across the hood, that better look perfect. Those are the two things that he sees. If those aren't good, he's going to complain. If those are good, he's not going to complain. And make sure it's clean too. You give somebody a dirty car, that's just give them something to gripe about. So the things you don't see or don't pay attention to, you don't need to spend as much time on. There's another side to this when we get there. There's a company, I'm going to say their name, company, I got a lot of respect for the management. The management team is not there anymore. And if the management team knew that this was the fundamental way down here of the workforce attitude, there would have been some changes. But there was a saying within the workforce, take pride in what you can hide. That is a bad attitude. I hate to go backwards to move forwards. I don't like to do that, but sometimes you have to. So we got Ronnie's car, we're doing it, and we had to go backwards to get this forward, but I'm pretty pleased with this. We can buff it. I was gonna knock out the front end here so you could see this whole car together today, because we just took it apart in groups. But then I started looking at it, well, and then we did this one not too long ago that way, and I had to go back after the fact. I could hide a lot. I mean, there's a 20-foot car. We all know what a 20-foot car is. It looks good from 20 feet, but you start inspecting it close, it don't look quite so good. And I can especially show that kind of stuff on video. I can make this look like it's together, but it's not really ready. So rather than do that, I'm like, no, we're gonna make this right. There's a couple of the bolts were the wrong way, and when I say the wrong way, I guess it would have worked the other way. But there's got to be a standard. If you're an apprentice, you're learning, you're doing. If you're a journeyman, of whatever trade it is, there's a quality standard that we have to match, and there's a time standard. I can't take 3 weeks on a 1-week job and expect to charge somebody 3 weeks when a true journeyman can hit this quality standard and get it done in a week. That is the standard. Some people are a little better, some people are a little bit slower, but they still fit within the range of a journeyman. And I'm just kind of talking about the master thing today. If, you know, people say they're jack of all trades and master of none, well, that could be. To be a master, you have got to have totally conquered the trade. I mean, you've got to understand what it is, what the level of quality is, and be able to achieve it in that time frame. Now, when you move past that, you finally come to the place where you learn you don't know it all. You always learning, always learning, always learning, and you have the ability to teach. And many of you folks out there have some skills and knowledge that you've gained, that you only gain through time, through doing it, through learning from others. So you have this knowledge, and you either pass it on now or you don't. I mean, Tiffany and some of the glass that was done back then, it was in his mind, and then some of the formulas are gone because when you know they weren't written down, they weren't passed down through time. Roman concrete, I mean, it's hard. Do we really know how to reproduce that? I mean, different things like that. So it's time to pass it on to the next generation if you get into the place where you become a master. And you know that, you understand that, and you have to teach. So you have to have the ability to teach, and you have to understand what the craft is. So here we are. This is getting exciting now. I mean, this is getting pretty exciting. It's gonna come together quick. A lot of it's been together already, so we're just gonna go through it little by little, not focus on the whole project. I'm putting the front end together now, and when I put the front end together and it's done, I'm gonna say it's done. I noticed the calipers are upside down, which means they're on the wrong side. We just have to flip them over. The bleeder should be on the top, and it's not, which is not a big deal. There's just some things like that, and especially for a new builder. I mean, we even use schematic. I mean, it's a drawing. It goes a long way, and we could probably give better drawings for what we do. But a lot of it, we're rod builders. Just make it work. I say it all the time. I'll say it again today. There's not one right way to do it, but there are some wrong ways. So let's avoid the wrong ways and focus on the right ways. So did I have a theme yet today? No, there's no theme to this one. Okay, well, the theme is, let's not go backwards to go forwards. Let's learn from those that have done it. Let's do our due diligence. like I tell my grandkids all the time, don't believe anything that you hear, read, or see. Do your own research. Just because I say it, don't make it the fact. But get around people that have the experience, and it's not about what we say, it's about the product that shows up after the fact, that you can see whether it's real or it's not. And this is coming together pretty right. We're adjusting the radius rods right now. Again, we want to make sure when the radius rod goes on, we're not having to pull it up or down. There's a just why don't you come around here for a second. This rod end, if you go straight up against the body, it's going to rub a little bit and it won't give you enough room to have your jam nut. So there's a spacer that goes in there. Make sure you're not jamming jam nuts against the body or jamming anything like that where they can't work properly. There's about a 15-degree pivot in that ball there. Once your rod end set and you got a clevis here, if you need to tip it one way or another, if this is high or if this is low, I could either tighten this up, that would make it come up higher back here. I could loosen this up, that would make it go lower down there. If I loosen this one up, it's going to make it low, and if I tighten it up, if I make it longer, it's going to make this go up. When you're done, make sure your jam nuts are tight. Okay, so once you get it tight, or get it to where you got it adjusted, get your jam nut tight. This is a friction shock. This will push up into this area once the shackles will, everything's set into position there. Pretty much spring behind front end, pretty straightforward, slingshot steering, just starting to assemble, and here we are. Just an update on Goldie. Goldie's coming together pretty quick. We'll probably start on the body. I'm thinking maybe next week. We got a bunch of other projects we're working on. The building is coming along pretty well. I think this is totally up in the air, and there's been a group started. This is pretty awesome too. I'm gonna keep pushing this. It's called Spirit Owners and Builders Group. Is that what it's called? Spirit Owners and Builders Group on Facebook. And I usually check it in the morning now and at night. It's only 3 days old, and we have 58 people, I think, already as part of the group. And there's been some great builders getting our cars and putting them together, and I love it when someone has a better idea than I do. And I'm have no problem giving credit to where credit's due, and I will a lot of times ask if I can use their great idea. But we all have built on each other's, what we've done as far as in this hot rod world. It's been cool. This has been done before, and then it kind of went out of fad, and now it's like you don't see a lot of cars with this depth of metal flake. It ain't happening right now, and I think it's as cool as it ever was. And when this car gets out there, it's going to stand out, and whatever crowd it's in, it's going to be awesome. And I'm thinking, I've got so many options. Ronnie's given us a lot of different pearls, so I got a lot of options to go with on the body. So we'll figure out a design. We'll kind of do that. We may do that part live in 1105 before we actually start spraying it. So what kind of scallops we'll do or something. It'll be a 60s rat pink kind of a theme to it. So that'll be great. So that's about it for today. Words for today, thoughts for today. Okay, you're pointing, it's here. Let's go back to basics. No, let's go basics plus one. Should we go basics plus one? This isn't 101, this is basic plus one. We all know John 3:16. So I'm not going to do John 3:16. I think we'll go to John 3, maybe 18. Okay. Yeah, we'll do 18. This is good. So we're in a war. We're in a battle. There's good and there's evil. Oh, this is the are you triggered time. If you're triggered, be careful. Because we're going into the word zone, and it's either true or it's not. It doesn't really matter if you believe a lie, it's still a lie. It doesn't really matter if you don't believe the truth, it's still the truth. We just got to kind of make it through this world. We're here to be judged, not to judge. So anyway, on 3:18, I'm just going to read a couple of verses and then let you ponder on that. Do your own research to what it means. He who believes in him is not condemned. He who does not believe is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only Son of God. And this is the judgment, that light has come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone who does evil hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his deeds be exposed. But he who does what is true comes to the light, that it may be clearly seen that his deeds have been wrought in God. So this is kind of the other side. You can take pride in what you can hide. This is the evil, wicked world. You might be able to put on a facade, and it's like, all right, look at me, I'm awesome. But the dirt, the slime, the corruption behind it is still there, and the foundation is built on corruption. I can make a cool looking car, and I can hide a lot. I've been doing this a long time. I know how to hide stuff. I know how to hide this weld underneath of a body. Well, I guarantee that's not a snot weld, that we V'd a seam or whatever, and we've got great penetration on the weld. What I need that weld for is to hold that frame together. So I'm not going to wipe Bondo on this right here, which I did put Bondo on here, to hide my weld. I was proud of my weld before we hid that weld. But I've hid the weld now, but it's slick, it's smooth, it's nice. When we weld these brackets on, there's a weld here, but we weld in the inside also. I tell people, don't grind welds. Don't grind welds. Well, we ground this weld because I like it nice and slick. I mean, so understand what it is you're doing, but build on a good foundation. Because if it's evil, if it's wicked, if it's not right, who wants to have that exposed? You're not going to want it exposed. You want to live in an evil world? That's what you have. But if you want to come to the light, I assure you, like I told my kids, you know, whatever you do, we're going to know about it, especially in a small town here. You don't get away with nothing, and my camera person even knows that. You can't get it. When you associate with me, it's like, oh man, it's exposed, it's in trouble. So I'm getting at least a little smile out of that. So that's it for today. It's John 3:16 is awesome. That's 101. 101 plus 1. Read John 18. We'll see you tomorrow.